Hello everybody, gonna do a little video tonight on my winter baler maintenance. So if you guys have got hay equipment, whether it's baler, swather, or whatever, and if you haven't been turned on to these leaf blowers, this is a Milwaukee, just a standard old battery powered leaf blower. These things are awesome. So when I was in high school, back in the Stone Ages, I worked for a big hay outfit and he made us blow the balers off and the swathers off every day. Of course, we had 2,000 acres of hay and we baled almost every day of the week. And but he had a big compressor, about like mine, and it just didn't work that well. That was before the days of these leaf blowers. Of course, this was in the 80s, but these things work awesome. So the wind is blowing like crazy outside, so I'll try to do a little video editing, but I'm just gonna set this up and show you how great this thing works. And of course, my baler is a John Deere 458 round baler. 2 winters ago, I had basically a rebuild done on it. I had all the bearings replaced, all the belts replaced, and several of the rollers replaced. And I'll try to get up in there and show you, but on this baler, the very top steel roller, when I first got it, was rusted like crazy. I got up there, tried to clean it. Boy, it's just in a tight spot, hard to get up there. So what I figured out is if I tarp this baler, that top bale doesn't rust, because over the summer of using it, between the net wrap and the belts and whatever, it kind of polishes that a little bit, and then it sits all winter and becomes pitted, rust pitted again. And this year was the best year I've ever had for baling. I had almost zero, I'm gonna say subprime bales. And before that, what had happened is that net wrap would catch in that pitted roll and snag the net wrap. If you guys are familiar with net wrap, it's super fine. It's almost like I don't know how to describe it, like super fine fibers. And that pitted roll would snag those fibers. And I'd get a bale that had a big rip in the net wrap, or it wouldn't cut just right, or who knows what. But this year I baled close to 500 bales, and for my little tiny operation, that's a lot of hay. And I had almost zero imperfections on my bales. They were awesome. And I think by tarping that baler, it keeps that top roll from rusting. So, I mean, I've actually got a broom handle with a razor knife duct taped to the broom handle. I can reach up in there with the baler and cut all that net wrap that would snag little pieces and wrap around that roll. Last time, I'll look today and I'll show you guys what I got when I get out there. But yeah, it is a great deal to tarp that baler. Of course, the wind blows and rubs a little of the paint off here and there. But the way I do it is I put a tarp from Harbor Freight on there and tie 4-wheeler tires to it. And that keeps the tension on it. I probably won't tarp it today just because the wind's blowing like crazy and it's just a fight. But I'll set the camera up, show you how great this leaf blower works, and then I'll kind of go over the baler and show you some stuff that needs to be done on it. I got a limit switch for the back gate needs to be replaced. I think that'll be very simple. And if I have any net wrap on that top roll, I'll get the camera and show you. Like I say, a razor knife, a $5 Stanley razor knife, duct taped to a broom handle so I can reach up in there and cut that and get that net wrap off, and then try to keep that smooth roll. I doubt I'll have any issues on it, because my bales were perfect. I had no snagging on the bales. I did a video a year or two ago on replacing the knife on the net wrap. That worked good. I replaced the brush on it. Probably should pull the brush out and clean it. Maybe I'll try to look at that. It's a pretty simple job. So I'll bring you guys along. End of season winter maintenance on the John Deere 458. Here we go. All right, guys, I apologize about the wind, but this has got a safety hydraulic lock right here. Pretty important because this back gate is partially open, so I can get in there and blow all that hay out. Pretty important because that thing will leak off and cause a potential hazard there. Another thing I was going to show you, I opened these gates up and see all them hay leaves in there. Man, if you don't get those out and they get wet, it just rusts everything terrible. I keep a little twine in here. I don't use twine, but if it's in the middle of the night and I lose a certain component of the net wrap, I can always hurry and thread the twine and keep baling. So I keep a little twine in here. Another thing I was going to show you. So see on my gauge wheels, they're adjusted almost all the way up. both of them are about the same place. And I left quite a bit of hay in the field. I think I'm going to end up replacing the pickup teeth on the pickup, because I just was leaving hay in the field. And I think I can probably adjust them just a little bit. I don't know how much it helped. I think it might be time just to replace those pickup teeth. So that's the top roll. Or no, excuse me, that's the top roll. See how it's a little bit rough? But there's no net wrap on it. Zero. And I've spent hours digging that thing apart, or digging the net wrap out of that thing, because it just picks it up and frays, and it didn't this year, and I think it's because I'm not allowing that to get exposed to the weather. I mean, it's still a little bit rough, but there's no net wrap on there. So you guys can see on that piece of framework, see how that is ate into there? That tells me this roll is not running very true. So I welded that up, was it last year or year before, and it looks like I need to weld it up again. That's kind of crazy how much that wears on that. I don't know, I must have a roll somewhere is not running true with that baler for some reason. There's another view of that. You can see that edge on that is worn like crazy from this. It's funny because it's not eating the belt up, but I'll have to weld that up. Hopefully you guys can see that. So another thing to mention, I'm in the cab now, is the monitor. I had my neighbor that's been running this type of baler for quite a few years tell me to always take the monitor in the house. I just finished baling here just a few days ago. The temperature's been real mild. It's been, low 60s at night, mid 80s during the day, so super mild temperatures. But I know that there's probably a lot of big outfits that have one tractor that always is the baling tractor, and they might leave this monitor in the tractor all the time. He was told some way from John Deere to not leave these monitors because of the temperature change. For us around here, we'll get below zero in the winter and above 100 in the summer. And these monitors cannot take that temperature swing. So I always, generally speaking, when it's not in use, I have this monitor in the house. Like I say, I've left it in here. I just finished baling just less than a week ago. The temperature's been super mild. I know I haven't heard it right now, but good to know that John Deere recommends keeping this guy in the house during the winter. And even in the summer, like in between cuts, in between first and second cut, between second and third cut, we might see 100 degrees. I know these computers don't do well in those temperatures. When I'm using it, I got the AC on. It's 75 degrees in here when I'm using it. So anyway, just going over a couple things I do for winter maintenance. So I'm going to talk about greasing for a minute before I get out in the wind, and I'll put this thing on time lapse when I'm blowing the hay leaves off. But it takes me about 10 to 12 hours to bale my entire farm. For me, I grease this baler between every cutting. Do I grease it every use? No, because sometimes I'll hop on the baler and go bale for 2 or 3 hours, and then one field or whatever, and that's all I need to bale. So leave some comments if you have a different idea. If you think I should be doing more often, let me know. But I think every 10 to 12 hours, that should be plenty of grease for this baler. So alrighty, we'll go start blowing it off with a leaf blower in the wind. All right, so I'm about halfway done with this baler. I've been around a few of these balers from other folks, and I don't want to sound critical, but I've seen them where people never clean them. They never do anything. They just run them, bale them, baling hay, park it, they're done. They don't look at it again. I would have never, I'll tell you my experience is I've done that a little bit, and these balers, if they're clean, run so much better. Like I said, I didn't want to sound boastful earlier in the video, but I baled almost 500 bales this year off 50 acres of ground, and I'm not sure I had a missed bale. I'm not sure I had one that, for whatever reason, on the edge of the bale, it snagged the net wrap, and it didn't look good. I set it to the side. You know, I sell quite a bit of hay. It just didn't look good. Fine bale, honestly. It'll pick up and stack and handle and be just fine. So I had 1 out of 500 that had a little bit of a miss. This best I've ever had as far as baling quality and you know, the consistency of the bales was fantastic this year. And I think all of these little things, you know, I talked about cleaning that brush earlier. I replaced the brush and the knife about a year ago. I think I did it, I think I did it at the beginning of the season last year. So I've baled 2 seasons with it. All those little things make a difference. You guys can see, it is like a freaking dust cloud of hay leaves when I'm blowing. I'm not quite done. You end up having to go around this crazy thing 2 or 3 times because you blow it off one side and it lands on the other side and vice versa. So I'm gonna go keep doing it. But I'll tell you what, if a guy's just getting into these little bit or these round balers, this maintenance, man, it is worth your time by tenfold, is what I would say. So here we go. We're gonna do some more cleaning. You know, another thing I was gonna mention too, real quick, that I used to pressure wash it. I bought my first pressure washer. I've only had it 2 or 3 years, and man, I was excited. I pressure washed everything, and I've learned that with this, you get this stuff wet, and it's almost a bigger headache to try to get it off. And you know, you'll see there's a few little spots I missed, but generally speaking, you can blow this thing with a leaf blower and be done with it. And I've pressure washed at times. If I've, you know, blown a hydraulic hose or something like that, I'll pressure wash. But 90% of the time, this with leaf blower does a pretty dang good job. So. Alright guys, so another thing worth showing you, I think you can see that hay kind of builds up on them rolls, and I'm not sure why it seems to only build up on this roll. I just grabbed a little scraper, this little carpet knife, and just kind of scrape that stuff off, because I think it's important, because what happens is you change the tension on your belt. And so I think all of this little things makes a difference. And usually, I mean, you can see that scrapes off pretty easy. You know, you loosen the tension on the belt, or on the belt, you can just roll that. Not any putty knife, any kind of a little scraper. Scrape that stuff off. I think all of these little things just make a difference on your baler. Alright, I'm not going to go through that process too long on camera, but just, I think it's kind of weird because like this roll and this roll have it. That's over one over here, and the next one over does not. I don't know why. All right, well, I stepped out of the wind for a minute. I just wanted to do a quick video about baler maintenance. I don't know, this farming deal for me has been interesting. It's been a huge learning curve. I got, you know, this old equipment. You know, everything I own as far as equipment went is old. That tractor, that 4440, I think it's a 78 model. That baler, I think, it might be around a 2000, but it's still 20 years old. Swather, same. And I think this preventive maintenance is essential. That baler, like I said, the last 2 years has run almost flawlessly. For me, in 2 years, I've baled 800 or 900 bales. You know, bigger outfits, that is one cutting. But these smaller outfits, you know, that's kind of this whole 10 cow ranch deal was kind of geared toward just smaller ranch farming type operations. So, you know, stuff I can share with you guys, I don't know, just try to help us out. You know, it's interesting, the market right now is horrible. I was selling hay 2 years ago for $300 a ton. I sold 7 semi-loads last week for $100 a ton. I don't know how farmers do it for a living. I mean, shoot, for me, it's like if I have a good year, then I upgrade a piece of equipment or do some extra maintenance on it or extra fertilizer or whatever. So, man, I don't know, to make a living farming, especially in the West in this desert country, pretty tough, pretty dang tough. So anyway, we're gonna wrap it up from tonight. Hopefully the wind wasn't too annoying. We'll try to edit some of that out if we can, but please leave some comments if you have any questions or if you have any ideas or things to improve. because that's what this whole YouTube thing's about, is just sharing knowledge with each other. And so, you know, right now it's just end of season. Got a lot of things going on right now. I'm going to be going trip to Arizona for a few days at the end of this week. Next week's the elk hunt. You know, middle of October we start gathering cows. So this baler is going to be on the back burner literally for another couple months, but I'll bring it up, you know, this winter, and we'll park it here by the shop and replace those pickup teeth. Got that limit switch on the arm to replace, that little bit of welding to do. But man, all that preventive maintenance pays off come summertime. So anyway, thanks for watching, everybody. Please subscribe.